Welcome and thank you for tuning in to today's video. Today I'm going to be going over the Warm Audio wa273 EQ. It is a stereo channel strip, which is awesome because you could run your stereo signal through it, whether it's your MPC or any sampler you have, you could go straight into this stereo channel strip. It has a stereo preamp and also EQ. Now, before we do jump in any further, I do want to say thank you to Zounds. Zounds did send this out for we can test it out. This is where I do most of my shopping. I actually just got the text notification a few days ago telling me, congratulations, you paid off your MPC Live Mark II, which that is the best feeling ever. I've been making so much music with this MPC. I already got some of the knobs a little rusty and I just paid it off. So that feels good. So if you have not done any shopping in Sounds, make sure you go down in the link of this video, use the link that I have. If any piece of gear you see right here, check out my links. They do support the channel without any cost for you. And plus, if you want to go ahead and pick something up today and just make payments, you could go ahead and do that. They do not run your credit. They go ahead and send out the gear to you and you go ahead and start making those payments. Now, I do want to say thank you to today's sponsor, which is DistroKid. Go down to the link of this video, click the link to get 7% off your first year's membership. Go ahead and fill that out. Once you become a member, I'll show you how easy and fast it is to upload a track and publish it to all streaming platforms. Now, once you become a member, you go right here where it says upload and you select upload music. Then make sure you select all these check marks so your music is out in all streaming platforms. How many songs you want to release. This is just going to be a single for me, one beat that I'm going to put out. Your artist's name is, for me, will be Malo. And then you're also on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, which is awesome. And then down here, I just noticed they just added this, your Instagram. So you can already have an account on Instagram as an artist. Just make sure you copy your URL, paste it right here. And now you can also add a launch date or a release date if you want to launch it a month in advance or 2 months, so you can create some pre-sales. And now down here, we're going to select the genre of music you're uploading. For me, it's going to be hip hop, so I can select that right there. And then also down here, we can upload your album art cover. I do my own art cover. I'm not no professional designer or anything like that, but I could create my own art cover using a Canva. Very fast and easy way to do it. And then down here, you can select the title of the track you're going to be publishing. I'm actually going to upload the file first. I'm going to go to select audio files, and right here, I can select my WAV file, hit open, and then we select the title of the track. Now, if we keep going down right here, you got a songwriter or the name of whoever's uploading this. Make sure you put your full name right here. And then down here is you have any explicit language. Mine is no, because it's just a beat right here. There's no radio edit. This is only one edit right here. And then down here, it says it's an instrumental. Mine is an instrumental, so I can go ahead and select that. And then right here is preview start time, so people could listen before they select your track. And finally, the last option, what price you want to put it out at. Now down here, these are just add-ons. You want to click some of these, go ahead and click them, read through them. If they something you want to add to this, you go ahead and click it right there. It will be an additional price. That's optional though. You do not have to select those. Down here, and just make sure you check all these boxes, hit done, and once you hit done, you're good to go. Your track will be ready to be launched. You can actually preview the track just so you could start sharing that to your social media links and people can start pre-saving it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the signal. We're going to hear a beat coming straight out of the MPC just with no processing. I'm not going to go through the 1073s. I'm going to just let you hear how it sounds from the MPC. Then I'm going to run it through the 273s and adjust the preamp at modern levels. I'm not going to be distorting or clipping, just modern levels. Let you hear how that sounds. And then I'm going to go ahead and engage the tone setting that this comes with. I think the tone setting is where the magic is. I love the tone setting. It just switches up the sound a bit. And then after, we will go ahead and just crush our signal. Well, I'm not going to really crush the signal, but I will saturate it. I'm going to go into the red and clip the signal. One thing I do want to say, do not feel bad if you don't notice a difference because they are so subtle. The differences are not night and day difference. The last setting, I will let you know, it is a pretty big difference. And also I'm matching the level, so everything is gain staged, so you're not being fooled by something that's just sounding louder. Everything is gain staged very good, so that's why it could be a little hard to notice the difference. Now with that out the way, let me run through real quick with this channel strip so I can show you what it has and some of the settings that we'll be using. So starting here on the left side, you got your mic inputs XLR that you can plug in straight in front of the channel strip, or you could go in the back. Also in the back, you got your inputs and outputs. And then right here at the bottom, you have your line inputs if you are running a line level instrument, kind of like my sampler is going in line level. And then you also, if you have a microphone you want to connect into the channel strip, you could go ahead and click out of line and it will just be set up for your microphone. If you have a phantom power, you also have phantom power. You got your polarity switch, which is awesome if you're recording live instruments. This is very helpful. And then right at the bottom, you have your insert channel. So if you want to insert a compressor or any other piece of hardware into the signal chain, you can go ahead and do so. And then at the very bottom right-hand side, you got your instrument input. So if you want to go ahead and connect a bass guitar straight into the instrument inputs. And at the very top, you have the tone setting, which the tone setting, I don't know what it does, but it puts your audio on steroids. I think that's the best way to put it. We will listen to that right now when we get into it. And then right after that, we have your gain, your preamp, how hard you want to hit the preamps. I don't know if you could hear it, but they're very clicky and they just feel very solid. They're not flimsy or they just don't feel cheap. They feel very good. And right after that, you have your high pass filter. This is so helpful. You got your high pass filter, so if you want to roll off some of the low end, I have mine at 50 hertz, so if something's a little too boomy, you go ahead and roll off some of those low frequencies. And right after that, you have your 1073 EQ, which is awesome. I come from the plugins. I do not come from hardware. And one of my favorite plugins that I enjoy using is the Universal Audio 1073. That is my favorite plugin when it comes down to EQing guitars, snares, kicks. It sounds so good with little adjustment. Now, something that I want to say about this EQ right here that I'm not a big fan of is these knobs right here. They're very flimsy. They just kind of slide. I don't know if you notice it, but any little adjustment, if you want to boost or cut, it's so easy to accidentally hit this knob right here. And any little inch that you move it, you definitely hear the difference. So you got to be very careful. And in order to select your frequency that you want to attack, you got to just dial in this inner knob right here. So this could be tricky if you're putting in a certain frequency you want to select. And I don't know if you noticed, but I accidentally just hit the boost or cut knob right here. So that is something that I do not like. And I noticed that I'm trying to dial in a frequency and I bump this a lot. It's so sensitive. So this is a low shelf EQ. Right here, and then the middle, it is a bell curve EQ, and then in your high frequencies is also a shelf EQ for your high frequencies, and right after that you have your EQ. If you want to engage it, go ahead and turn that on. If you don't want to hear it, you go ahead and turn that off. And at the very end right here, you have your output signal. This is so cool. I like preamps that will give you your input and your output, because right here, we will see at the very end of this video, we're going to compare as we crush the signal and we start clipping into the red. We'll just adjust the output so we don't go into our interface clipping. We're able to bring it down a little bit so it sounds really nice. Now, down here, I do have my desk, and I have everything connected through the patch bay. That's why you don't see no cables right here in the front. But I'm coming out of my MPC into the warm audio, and then coming out of the warm audio into my audio interface. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to let you guys hear the MPC. It's like a 4-bar beat that I have right here on the MPC. Then after we hear the raw signal from the MPC, we're going to compare it to the warm audio 273s. Again, I will leave links up here as we're listening to this so you know what we're hearing. And one thing I do want to let you know before I do jump into it is do not feel bad if it's hard for you to hear the difference, because it's a very subtle difference. Just pay attention to the low end, the frequencies of like the kick and the bass. That's where I can feel it the most. I'm gonna go ahead and just stay quiet and let's hear these comparisons. All right, so right there we're listening to the MPC by itself, and then the MPC going through the 273. The way I had it right there on the 273, very modern. I wasn't clipping, I wasn't distorting, like just good levels and clean to clean signal. It's very subtle. It's not a night and day difference. I'm not sure how you're gonna be able to listen to it through the speakers here on YouTube. Let me know down in the comments if you notice a difference. If you do not notice a difference, don't feel bad. Now, I'm going to go ahead and engage the tone setting in the 73s. The tone setting, I'm not sure what it does. I don't know the technicality of what it's doing, but it just adds a little more, I don't know, it just puts a little more body into my overall signal. All right, so comparing those two, going back and forth, now I'm starting to notice the difference a little bit more. The 273s with the tone engaged, it feels a little heavier. It's not too much of a difference, but I'm starting to notice it a bit more. Now, there is this third setting that I wanted to do, and this is actually my favorite way that I've been using these 273s. Is just clipping my signal, distorting my mic preamp or the input preamp, and I'm actually clipping to the red. So it's something that I would never do in my Apollo with my preamps in the Apollo. With the Apollo, when you get into clipping, you definitely could hear it, and it's not in a pleasing way. It is something that I try to avoid and stay away from. But with these 73s, I am distorting my signal just a little bit. And then with my output knobs, I bring them down so I go into my interface at a healthy level. So I'm not clipping going into my interface. I'm just saturating the preamps right here. You are not being fooled by level. One of them is going to be louder than the other. No, they're both matching exactly the same. They're going into the DAW at the exact same input. So it's still level matched, but you will be able to feel the difference here. Okay, so that is a very big difference. Again, is level matched. They're both going into the DAW at the very exact level. So even though the 273 sounds louder, it feels heavier. It just a lot thicker in every way. And I know you're able to hear this difference. This has been my favorite setting for the style of music that I do, boom bap sample-based production, where I want it to just crunch up a bit. I like having this preamp at that setting. So I have my tone engaged, and I am just clipping a little bit within the preamp before I go into my DAW. But I want to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. What do you hear? Do you guys feel a difference? And also, another thing to keep in mind is you always have to think about what your goal is. What are you trying to do? Is this something that you are willing to invest? Because yes, these 273s, they're not $200 or $300 you could just throw away. They cost some money, so is it worth it for you? So I am using this as my stereo mix, and that's something that I mentioned in the beginning. We're making the beat in the MPC live. I'm doing some rough mixing within the MPC live, but when I come out of my MPC live, I feel like that's where it's very important for me. Yes, you could run some hardware units within the MPC doing your mixing, but I think coming out, like your stereo mix, that is either going to be built and sound nice. So even though these units do cost a few dollars, I do feel like my stereo signal is very important for me. So my overall thought with this 273 from Warm Audio is great. The only downside that I had from it is just the EQ. It's not something that I find myself going to all the time for all my mixes, but I'd rather have the EQ there versus not have them. Now they do have another version which is a lot cheaper, and it's just the preamps without the EQ. So I think that's also a very nice option because I like the sound of the 1073s that the UAD plugins have. So another thing that I was considering on doing is just picking up the stereo preamp version that they have and then just running them through my Apollo interface and using the 1073 plugins and just recording that straight into my DAW because they do sound very good. So that's it for me right here, guys. Let me know down in the bottom if you guys notice a difference. What did you guys hear? If this is something that's worth it for you, or maybe it's not worth it for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this video. I hope you guys took something out of it. I'll catch you guys on our next video. Peace.